Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. Well, the Ministry of International Cooperation issued the full recommendations and final message of the Egypt Forum for International Cooperation and Development Finance, emphasized the need to activate multilateral cooperation in a more effective and also flexible manner to be able to overcome international challenges and also to achieve sustainable development. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host in this episode of The Breakfast Show our dear guest, Dr. Sahar Nazmi, Professor of Business Management. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning to you.
Well, Doctor, how do you see the importance? This is the first time that Egypt hosts such a forum. How do you see the importance of Egypt's first time to host this forum?
It proves how much successful Egypt has become as a leading country in the region, not only the Middle East region, but also among the African countries. This proves and indicates we are important, we are active, and we can do it. We have examples on the grounds, we have mega projects towards sustainable development. People trust our capacity, people trust Egypt to lead the initiative. From here it comes the importance and the need. Come to Egypt, sit around a table and discuss what they have done and what they are up to do, which will reflect on the recovery and the sustainability of economy across the region as well as Africa.
Yes. So, Dr. Nazmi, the recommendations concerning or the outcome of this forum, could you give us your insight concerning the recommendations?
Actually, I saw the recommendation is covering all aspects of the social, economy, environmental aspects of a living nature.
Yes.
It was, for me, it was very amazing and surprising that they managed to cover all these aspects in a couple of days. Yes. But one of the most important recommendations that came up during the second forum? Day and the closing of the conference.
The closing session.
Yes, the closing session is investment in the human capital. This is, for me, is very essential. I have been into different international forums,
yes,
discussions, programs, initiatives, but for the first time I see this investment in human capital coming out very clear, crystal clear and important.
Yes.
When we invest in the human capital, in the people behind the machines, in the people living in the community, it makes a hell of a difference in accelerating the plan, the execution and the implementation. This is one of the recommendations that came up. Very strong and very efficient, actually.
Yes.
The greenery economy, with all the hassle of the pandemic, the coronavirus, the negative impact on economy, the conference or the forum did not neglect the Paris Agreement of maintaining a green economy. This is a wealth of nature that we are obliged to maintain and sustain for the coming generations.
Yes.
President Sisi, in his statement to the
UN?
forum during the 8th and 9th of September,
yes,
he stressed that I know that there are challenges, I know there are a lot of factors hindering our attention to green economy at this stage, but we all keep in head and in front of our eyes green economy and the changing climate circumstances issued by the Paris Agreement is essential and have to be put on the table side by side with any development plan.
Yes.
A third aspect, the involvement of the private sector. Given the situation of the pandemic, given the country requirement for development, this is not a duty of a government on its own.
Yes.
It is a combination of efforts,
coordination
and coordination, collaboration
Yes.
with the private sector, that they are able to come up with the required finance and ideas, creative ideas, to develop and take forward our strategy of the 2030 into a more solid grounds.
Yes.
Another aspect, women empowerment.
Yes.
And the involvement of women in the workforce. Again, they don't miss listing a woman as a top priority for any community to develop. Now, sharing all these ideas with international financial institutions, the UN, African countries, emerging countries, developing countries, they all put their ideas and their objectives on the table. They interchange and exchange opinions and point of view and experiences.
Yes.
They even show expertise. Egypt has done a lot on the development plan of the 2030. We have a lot of mega projects running. We have a lot of initiative like Decent Life to provide a decent life for each citizen. This has all added to the impact of developing the country. The rate of poverty has declined from 32.9 to 29, which is for the first time in 20 years, has never happened.
Yes.
We were always on the rise as far as poverty rates is concerned. I think the agenda, the recommendations, the discussions were too rich, covering all aspects of problems, community challenges that were put on the table.
Yes.
And it would make the government really busy.
Yes.
For the rest of the coming 2 years.
Yes. So now that you're praising the forum, do you think, Dr. Nazmi, that 2 days are enough to discuss everything?
This is the first edition. 2 days is not really adequate to put all issues on the table and have outcome and results and agreements. However, I would say that was the beginning.
Yes.
It needs a lot.
It's good for the beginning.
It's very good for the beginning. Just you create the awareness, the intentions. You can see who is willing to join your ideas and to join your plan.
Yes.
That was quite enough just to bring all issues on the table and see how can we handle it.
Yes. So, Dr. Nazmi, would these recommendations, in your point of view, would contribute to achieving the goals of the sustainable development of Egypt's plan for the year 2030?
Definitely, and the proof is today Egypt is already working on this plan by providing the mega projects and decreasing the poverty rate, improving the style and living style of Egyptians. Citizens are feeling more services. The infrastructure is being developed. Definitely, it will impact our 2030 strategy.
Yes.
It's a major milestone. Yes.
Yes. Dr. Nazmi, while you were answering my first question, you've mentioned the private sector.
Yes.
So, what do you think is the importance of the participation of the private sector, of many and also international and regional financial institutions, and also the research centers, also the civil society?
Private sector has a vital role.
Yes.
They have the liquidity, the finances, the plans, creative ideas, and the people. They have the right people, the skills. They have been always picking the right skills and the most qualified skills to do the job. And they are always working on developing the skills of their human resources. Private sector is giving a very excellent example of the outcome of investment of human capital.
Yes.
And will provide the qualified human resources to make things happen. That from the private sector side. So we need them for the ideas,
Yes,
We need
and
them
also for
the
supporting the development endeavors and also stimulating development role.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. They will be driving all the what is under the umbrella of
Yes.
development and moving ahead.
Yes.
That is the private sector. You mentioned the international financial institutions.
Yes.
Those people has to come and sit on a table and see how people think. How do they foresee their future?
Yes.
What's their vision? What's their status clearly today? And where do they want to go from here?
Yeah.
Unless those people are convinced that you have a tangible plan and you're serious about your talking about and committed to your 2030 plan, they will never look into supporting technical or financial. So their presence was very essential to witness our performance, to witness our expertise, experience so far. What have we done and what are we still planning to continue doing?
Yes, and also the role that is played by the private sector in the challenge of the coronavirus.
They have done, the private sector, of course, they have helped in the awareness, in protection, in curing a lot of cases.
Yes.
They were very active and positive about supporting the community during the corona.
Yes.
Hopefully it will, be clear.
Yes.
It will end soon.
Yes, so Dr. Nazmi, how important is the cooperation between the countries of South and North of the Mediterranean in bridging the technological and knowledge gap between the countries of the North and South?
In the region,
Yes.
we are so close to each other. We have to be one community, strong community.
Yes.
We have to copy the European Union, at least the European Union, in some aspects. We talk the same language, we have almost the same values.
Yes.
And I don't know what has been stopping them from years and decades from being one strong union. This is
It
very...
needs more coordination.
It needs more coordination, collaboration, interchanging of goods and interchanging of expertise. It has been working on, but on a very low profile or very limited scale. It's time to have an Arab Union together, because when we come together, one hand, I'm sure we'll have a much more impact, at least on Africa, on Asia. And I'm not saying the international world, at least the neighbor continents, when they feel our strengths, our impact will help the African countries as well to develop. And that's why they are involved in this forum.
Yes. So, Dr. Nazmi, the recommendations also included the affirming to the commitment of the United Nations framework on the climate change and also the Paris Agreement. What's your comment?
Yes. It's essential, it's crucial. Climate changes is damaging a lot of our natural resources. And President Sisi affirmed and confirmed that with all the challenges we have, even in the presence of coronavirus and the pandemic impact on the economy and social, we have never neglected this aspect of green economy. This is something that we will leave to the next generation, and it is really our role to maintain and keep this green nature and asset, to keep it there for next generation.
Yes, yes. So, Dr. Nazmi, let me read one of the recommendations in order to shed more light on it. The recommendations included a reference to the role of the African Continental Free Trade Area in promoting the growth and integration of African economics and emphasizing the need to end negotiations related to the e-commerce protocol also cross-border e-commerce and activating taxes. So to what extent does e-commerce contribute to comprehensive economic recovery?
Sharing your goods, your products, manufacturing, interchanging goods from Africa and exporting out of Egypt through trade agreement facilitates the presence of products, expansion of your market. If you talk biscuit, if you talk cheese, juices, you don't look only for the 100 million population in the Egyptian market. If you have Africa in hand with free trade agreements, that means no customs duty, more facility to enter the market, then you will be able to penetrate not only the Egyptian market or the Middle East market, but also you have a huge market on the other side or downward there.
Yes.
Among Africa continent that you can penetrate. You can easily say, I'm not producing only for 100 million Egyptian population, but I'm also including another 200 million Africans that would be interested in our product.
Yes.
Bilateral agreement and free trade agreements has been very successful with the importation and exports of goods among Egypt and Saudi Arabia,
yes.
Egypt and Lebanon, Egypt and UAE. And I think it's high time that we manifest our success of free trade agreement
yes.
among the African countries.
Yes. Dr. Nazmi, Egypt's main target is, or strategic depth is the supporting the sustainable development. So how can Egypt help Africa to also support this target of the sustainable development in the African continent?
Africa has also a plan, a strategic plan for development, 2063, as I remember. And I believe 2063 is more of a very long-term plan. Our plan was the 2030 vision, and I believe that we have a lot of common problems among the two countries, or
yes.
that they share maybe similar problems like poverty, like lack of education. That's why Minister of Education was there as well. A lot of social life rights are not given there. So maybe showcasing our initiative, our strategy, the outcome, the results, what we have been doing, the social solidarity work on decent life, education-wise, the new system, new generation assessing their skills and being able to join the education in a much more flexible and comprehensive way than the old school of education. Looking into a mega project that we have done, connecting and opening more veins to the country and better infrastructure. This will give Africa a good and a deep and considerable idea what the sustainable plan is all about, and from where they can start and begin feel immediate results is done in Egypt.
Yes. I thank you very much for joining us today.
Amal.
Thank you for your valuable information and for explaining this in a simplified way to us. Thank you so much, Dr. Sahar Nazmi, Professor of Business Management. Thank you so much. I really had the pleasure to host you.
Same here, please.
Thank you.
Same here.
Well, I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in this segment. I leave you now with the rest of the segments of the Breakfast Show with my colleague, Shireen Adel.